You know, you turn on the news and it just feels like total chaos, right? The market's tanking, the headlines are screaming, and it's almost impossible to figure out what the real story is. So, let's get into it, because today we are going to separate that short-term noise from the long-term signal. And what's causing all the chaos today? Well, the U.S. government is shut down. This is the third time it's happened under this administration, and it immediately just throws a giant wrench into the whole system. We're talking massive, massive uncertainty. The immediate human cost is just, wow. 750,000 federal workers are furloughed. That means they're sent home without pay. Think about that. 750,000 people are suddenly out of a job, and that creates a very real and immediate economic shockwave. So, no surprise here, the market's reaction is fast and it is negative. Traders have slammed on the brakes, they flipped that risk-off switch. You can see it right here. Futures for all the major indexes, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, they're all pointing down. This is pretty much what widespread fear looks like on a trading screen. Okay, so government shutdown, market meltdown, but here's the thing. This shutdown creates a much deeper problem than just one bad day for the markets. It basically plunges everybody into a state of, well, navigating in the dark. How? By completely cutting off the flow of information. So here's the really crucial part. Key agencies, I'm talking about the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're closed. That means no official jobs report, no inflation data. So how is the Federal Reserve, the institution that's steering the entire economy, supposed to make any decisions? They're, for all intents and purposes, flying completely blind.
And this quote from UBS economist Paul Donovan, it just nails the problem perfectly. Yeah, sure, there's private data out there, but like he says, it's like viewing the economy through a keyhole. You get a super clear but really, really narrow piece of the picture. And that is not nearly enough to make, multi-trillion-dollar policy decisions.
But, okay, even with all this big picture chaos, if you look a little closer, you start to see individual companies that are telling a totally different story. And it's right here that we can actually start finding some clarity. All right, just take a look at this. I'm calling it the Nike paradox. The company comes out and says the hit from tariffs is going to be worse than they thought, to the tune of another $500 million. Now, by any logic, the stock should get hammered, right? Instead, it soars. What is going on?
So, why the huge disconnect? Well, it's really two things. First off, their earnings were just fantastic, all around. But, and this is the important part, they gave a clear, confident number for the tariff impact. In a market that is desperate for any kind of certainty, Nike just handed it to them, proving a really simple rule. For investors, clarity is king.
And you know what? It isn't just Nike. We're seeing a similar story play out in the pharmaceutical sector. Even though new tariffs are technically kicking in, the whole sector's rallying. Why? On news that the government and companies like Pfizer are having constructive talks. Again, just a tiny glimmer of clarity is enough to overpower all that broader fear. This all brings us to the bigger picture. Because while the market is freaking out over daily headlines, top CEOs are playing a much, much longer game. And we got some pretty incredible insights into how they think from the recent Bloomberg Women, Money, and Power event.
First up, Emma Walmsley, the CEO of the pharmaceutical giant GSK. Her philosophy is so simple, but it is so powerful. In her industry, where patents are always expiring, she says the only thing that matters is innovation. It's not just a good idea, it's a constant cycle of reinvention that you have to do just to survive.
Then we've got Ye Sin Hung, CEO of State Street Investment Management. For her, the future is all about data and AI. But listen, it's not just about automating boring tasks. The real promise, the real excitement, is in taking these just massive amounts of information they have and turning it into something powerful, real, actionable insights for investors. And finally, Christina Minna from Goldman Sachs gives us this really bullish signal on the economy's underlying health. She's saying the huge deals, we're talking $10 billion plus transactions, they are coming back in a big way. And let me tell you, that does not happen unless CEOs are feeling really confident about the long-term outlook. So look, these aren't just some vague ideas or buzzwords. These leaders are backing up their words with concrete strategies. Strategies designed to shape the next 10 years, no matter what drama is happening with a shutdown today. Just check out GSK's playbook under Walmsley. It is a super clear 3-step plan. First, she spun off their consumer health business to free up a ton of cash. Second, she took that money and doubled down, literally doubling their spending on R&D. And the result of that bet? A pipeline with over 15 potential blockbuster drugs. Now that is a strategy for a decade, not for a day.
And when Yi Shin-hung talks about AI, this is exactly what she means. It's really a two-part revolution. So part one, yes, it automates the boring, manual stuff, which makes everyone more productive. But the real game changer is part two, finding signals in all the noise of global financial data to create brand new, cutting-edge investment strategies.
And this brings us right back to Christina Minna's point. It's not just that the big deals are happening again, it's that the market to actually finance them is healthy and it's diverse. Companies are tapping public markets, they're using private credit, they're going to traditional banks. This signals a really robust and confident financial system, one that's ready to fund the next wave of big, transformative deals.
Okay, let's pull all of this together. The real story here isn't just about the chaos of the day, it's about really understanding the long game that's being played right underneath the surface. It's all about separating the noise from the signal.
And this is what it all boils down to, really. On one side, you have the noise, the government shutdown, the crazy market swings, the data blackout. It's loud, it gets all the attention, and frankly, it's pretty scary. But on the other side, you have the signal, that relentless drive for innovation, the tech revolution being driven by AI, and the comeback of strategic, long-term deal-making.
So this leaves us with one final, and I think crucial question. In a world that's always going to be volatile, the real challenge isn't just watching the story unfold. It's deciding which one you're going to follow. So where are you going to focus your attention? On the chaos of the day or on the strategy of the decade?